Today I want to compare the SIG Sauer P365XL to the CANIK METE MC9. And the reason I want to compare these two is these are both considered micro-compact firearms. They're similar in size, they're similar in round capacity, and I've shot both of these, and I just wanted to go over some of the things that make these different from each other and some of the things that make them similar. Stick around to the end of the video, and I'm going to go over some of the problems that I've had with both of these firearms, brand new out of the box, and what I did about them, and let you know how big a deal I think they were. First, we're going to verify that these are unloaded. We have an empty magazine and no round in the chamber, empty magazine and no round in the chamber. Right now the retail price for the SIG P365XL is $600, and then the CANIK METE MC9 is retailing for $420. So you're going to get quite a bit of gun for almost $200 less with the CANIK. First, I want to go over some of the similarities of these two firearms. And the first one was round capacity. They both come with a 12 round magazine. The SIG Sauer actually came with two 12 round magazines. CANIK MC9 comes with a 12 round magazine. It also comes with a 15 round magazine as well. But for comparison purposes, just wanted to show you that these magazines are virtually the same size. Slightly different in shape up above here. The SIG Sauer gets a little more narrow more quickly, but other than that, these are basically the same size. Next, I want to compare the size of these two pistols. Although the form factor or the shape and ergonomics are quite a bit different when you look at the firearms, they are, when you hold them side by side, the length front to back is virtually identical. The sights are almost exactly the same distance from each other, the front and rear sights. That difference in length is basically just this beaver tail in the back of the SIG, which makes that officially almost half an inch longer. As far as the height of the grip, slightly different shaped, as I said before, but virtually the same when it comes to actual height of the firearm. You can also see that the thickness is almost identical. Okay, so now I'm just going to compare the weight, and we're going to use the 12 round magazine empty in the SIG. The weight comes in at 20.3 ounces, and let us do the same for the CANIK. That comes in at 21.3 ounces. So they are virtually about the same weight. The only significant difference in dimensions that I could find between these two would be the actual barrel length. And the CANIK barrel length is 3.1 inches, where the SIG is 3.7. So you can see that the barrel is a little bit longer. That's going to give you a little higher velocity by a little bit. So that is a plus for the SIG. I'm going to compare the factory sights that come with each of these pistols. The SIG comes with a 3.2 white dots in the back and a green dot in the front. I do kind of like that sight. It really does draw your eye to it at first glance. The CANIK has something similar in front. It's a white dot, but it's kind of bright, at least here in a well-lit room, and the blacked out U shape in the back. That's not too bad either. Not quite as eye-catching as the SIG, but I'm going to turn the lights down low a little bit, and we'll see how we're looking in low light. Okay, now the lights are down just a little bit. You can still see both of those pretty good. I'm going to turn the lights down even more. I'm actually going to turn the lights off. So here are the SIG X-Ray 3 day-night sights here. It's pretty dark in this room. There's still a tiny bit of light. So you can see the 3 green dots on the SIG really well in the dark. So these are really good night sights. I'm holding the CANIK METE right next to it on the right side, and you can't see those sights at all. And they're not night sights. So the SIG P365XL wins in this category, hands down. Now I want to compare the red dot or the optic footprint on each of these guns. So the P365 and the CANIK MC9 both have the exact same optic footprint. These two holes here are the screw holes where the optic would attach to the gun. They both come with a cover on the slide. The P365 cover is a lot easier to take off. Just remove these screws and it actually lifts right off of there. The CANIK MC9, however, has these screws in here, and it's an extremely tight fit. Not that that's a big deal, you're only going to do it once, but after you take the screws out, which go in these holes, you're going to want to take a small punch and put it through here and tap it with a hammer, and that's what it's going to take to actually get the cover to come off of there. Nothing got marked up or anything like that, but it did have to be tapped out of there. So both of these take a RMSC footprint. So any of the optics, such as the Holosun K series, will fit directly onto these slides. And in the description below, I'll list the different kinds of optics that will be compatible for these guns.
If you carry a firearm or any other weapon for self-defense, you need to be prepared for the legal battle that is likely to follow a self-defense incident. Even if you are defending yourself or others, you are likely to be arrested and go through an expensive and difficult legal process while the court determines that you are the good guy. I recommend Firearms Legal Protection. FLP offers a few different membership options. All plans provide excellent legal protection and don't force you to bundle your protection service with a bunch of other stuff you don't need. Their motto says it all: protect yourself, we'll protect you. Save some money on your protection plan by using my coupon code in the description of this video.
Now let's compare the grip size adjustability on these two firearms. The CANIK METE MC9 comes with replaceable back straps. So this back strap, this piece here on the back, is a medium, and it comes with a small and a large back strap. So what you do is you just take the tool that comes with it, you punch this pin out, and you can take the back strap off and put on a smaller one or a larger one to make the grip bigger or smaller. I've got the medium back strap on here, and that fits me pretty good. If I had longer fingers and bigger hands, I could put on the bigger one, and vice versa for smaller hands. So that's a nice feature. A lot of guns come with that kind of a feature. However, the P365 from SIG does not have replaceable back straps. There's no way to adjust this grip size. And I'm going to say it's almost on the small side for me, and see how far my finger's all the way up here. I wish the grip were just a little bit bigger. So the only way to change the grip on a P365, if you take the slide off and then you take this pin out, the fire control module comes out, and this plastic piece here is called the grip module, and you can buy different grip modules, larger ones, different colors. You can change that out, but they start at about $50. So to change the grip size or the grip feel on this gun, you're gonna spend a little bit more money, maybe considerably more money, depending on what it is you're looking for. In my mind, as far as the grip size adjustability, the CANIK comes out way on top. All right, next I'm going to compare triggers on these two firearms. These are both striker-fired handguns. So striker-fired handguns don't have the greatest triggers in the world, but the SIG's got a pretty good trigger on it. As usual, always verify unloaded before pulling the trigger. So first thing I'm going to do is kind of check the travel of the trigger. So it goes about this far before you feel a little tension, and then we're going to go a little more, and then it fires right there. That's not very much trigger travel, so that's pretty good. So I'm going to reset it so we can listen for the reset. Okay, a pretty short reset on that. That's a pretty good feeling trigger. I really like that trigger. Let's compare that to the CANIK. Verify unloaded. It's got a little trigger safety on the front of the CANIK right here, so you do have to press that nice and flat. I do like that feature. A little bit of travel before you feel any tension. Nice, easy. That felt like a little bit easier trigger press. Let's check the reset. Whoa, super short reset on the CANIK. Boy, that's a really good trigger on the CANIK. And I'm going to say they're pretty close. They both feel quite different, but I really like the way they both work with a nice short reset. And I did fire both of these, and I had a pretty easy time hitting the target with them, so I think the triggers are both pretty good on these. Now I'm going to talk about the accessory rails that come on these two guns. The CANIK METE comes with a pretty standard Picatinny rail. Just about any laser, white light training tool like the Mantis will fit on this particular style of rail. The SIG, however, comes with a similar, but it's actually a proprietary type of rail. So if you have a accessory you want to put on here, you need to make sure that it's compatible with the SIG P365. Kind of an unfortunate choice they made by doing that. However, there are adapters out there that look pretty nice that you can put on here. There are companies that make specific accessories that fit this rail, so you need just to be careful as to what you purchase for this gun, because it does have a little bit of a different rail. And I'll put links down in the description below for some of these products that will work on the P365. The CANIK has a chamber loaded indicator right on the top here. Okay, so when there's no round in the chamber, the top is flat. But when there is a round in the chamber, the top is slightly raised, so you can feel with your finger that there's a round in the chamber. So that's your chamber loaded indicator. I kind of like those. In low light, that's an easy way in an emergency that you can tell you got a round in the chamber. Whereas the SIG does not have that. It's got a little gap here. You can look down in to see if there's a round in the chamber, but unfortunately that's only going to work for you if there's enough light in the room to see the brass down in there. So that's one thing that the SIG does not have that the CANIK does. So now I want to talk about the ambidextrous capabilities of these firearms for lefties. On the CANIK, we have an ambidextrous slide stop. Nice big slide stop on both sides of the gun. We have a magazine release on one side of the gun, but it can be swapped to the other side for a left-hander to use. And I do have a video that I'll link to up above on how to do that. And on the SIG, the slide stop is only on the right-hander side. It's on the left side of the gun, but that's for a right-hander. There is no slide stop on the other side of the gun. So that's a downside for a left-handed shooter. The magazine release can also be swapped to the other side. It's a different design, but it's the same type of thing. You can only have it on one side at a time. It's not ambidextrous, but it can be swapped to the other side. Now I want to compare the ease of disassembly for cleaning. So on the SIG P365XL, in order to field strip this firearm, it's fairly simple. Lock the slide back. Of course, make sure it's empty. That's first. We already did that. Lock the slide back. Rotate the takedown lever down. Release the slide stop. Slide it off the front. Take out your recoil spring and your barrel, and you're done. So that's pretty easy. The CANIK is easy as well. It's slightly different to do. On the CANIK, however, similar to a Glock, you do need to press the trigger in order to disassemble. So first making sure it's empty, close the firearm, press the trigger, pointing the gun in a safe direction. Also similar to a Glock, you just need to move the slide back just a little bit and pull these slide levers down on both sides. The slide only goes forward a little bit and then it lifts off, where on most guns, including Glock, the slide comes all the way off the front. No big deal, it's just a little bit different, but it's still quite easy to take the firearm apart for cleaning. As far as what comes included with the SIG P365XL, when I purchased this SIG from my local dealer, it came just like this. It's got a nice lockable plastic case. When you open it up, you have the gun, one magazine, two magazines. And then under here, you have your necessary lock. You have your Allen key to remove the Optic cover. This isn't really actually a manual. You have to scan this code to get your manual, which is fine. That's pretty typical. This is just safety and warnings. That's how the SIG came in its packaging. The CANIK METE MC9, on the other hand, comes in a nice, somewhat sturdier, lockable plastic case. And when you open this up, you get quite a bit more. It comes with cleaning rod, cleaning brush, a pin punch for changing the back strap. This is actually a little tool kit. It's kind of cool. It's got a little bit holder here, and when you open this up, you get some bits that you can use, and some spare screws and washers that come with it. The bits for taking the Optic cover off the top. You have two extra back straps to adjust your grip size. It does come with an owner's manual that you can actually hold in your hand. It also comes with some nice cheat sheets here that kind of go over some of the basics, what comes in that little tool kit here, what the screws are for. It shows you how to disassemble and assemble the gun. Of course, the gun itself, it comes with a inside the waistband holster, and I have a video on this as well. This is made for a right-handed shooter. You can't really turn it around for a left-handed shooter. It's not a great holster, it's not really adjustable, but it will do the job so you can get yourself a good holster. It also comes with this little base plate that you can put on the 12-round magazine. It gives you a little bit more grip. My hand's just big enough that my pinky doesn't have any place to rest, but this really makes the difference. It also comes with a 15-round magazine, which makes the gun a little bit bigger, but it does give you a few more rounds. And it comes with a loader, which helps your thumb if you're on a training class or whatever and you're going to be loading the magazines up over and over again. You're going to want something like this. If you're only going to load your magazines a few times, you don't need this. These magazines are well made and they're not difficult to load with your bare hands. and it does come with the obligatory trigger lock. So it comes with quite a bit of accessories, and I found that quite impressive. Okay, now I want to talk about some of the issues that I had with both of these guns. They're all pretty minor issues, and they're things that aren't really a deal breaker, but I'm going to let you know what they were. But what I'm going to tell you is, good luck loading 12 rounds into the SIG Sauer 12-round magazine with your bare hands. You might be able to get 9 or 10 in there. If you're really strong fingered, you might be able to get 11, but good luck getting the 12th one in there. MC9, not a problem. So when you get yourself one of these guns and you find that I'm telling the truth about this magazine, you're gonna wanna pick up one of these. This is a Speed Bees just for the P365. This will enable you to get that last round in, and it's gonna really save your thumb, believe me. Okay, I got 11 rounds in here. Lock it in, press down on a lever, drop it in, it's loaded. So one of the things about the P365XL I wanted to point out, I guess I'll call it a quirk. I don't know that's a serious issue. It's been happening quite a few times now. So I have the slide locked back, and I'm about ready to load a magazine into an empty gun. I'm not going to touch the slide stop, so watch what happens. It automatically closes and loads a round. Automatically. Now, I've never had a gun do that before. I guess it's not really a bad thing because I was going to close the slide anyway, but normally you would have to either rack it or release the slide stop manually in order to close the slide. So those are the two issues that I've noticed on the P365. As far as the CANIK MC9, the only real issue I had with this is I found that when the magazine was empty and I hit the magazine release, the magazine would not drop free all the time. Now if you hold it a certain way, it drops right out, and I've seen on the internet that that's a fairly common issue. So what I did was, and I have a video that I'll link to, and what I did, I took some sandpaper and I just kind of sanded down some of the areas in here to make the slot a little bit larger, just by tiny bit, and it seems to have worked pretty well to get the magazine out. Other than that, and one time my slide did not lock back on an empty magazine when I was shooting the other day, but that was an anomaly. I've got 12 rounds in the magazine. I have heard that if you put the 13th round in the chamber and load the 12-round magazine in there, that it will fail to feed after the first shot. I have not experienced that, so I'm going to show you here. Fully loaded mag again, one in the chamber. All right, let's see what happens. Other than that, both of these guns have been shooting fantastically, very accurate, easy to shoot, and actually fun to shoot. So hopefully this video helped you out if you were looking at either one of these fine firearms to purchase. So thank you for watching the video. Please check out the description below. There's a lot more information down there, and please subscribe, and thanks for watching.